Okay, I did not expect this, so this is a little more advanced and is beyond my league. Well beyond. Actually, I don't know if anyone could explain it that I ever spoken to. Okay, so here's the H bridge, right? H bridge has a positive wire and a negative wire that has to get direct current from it. I have the negative side hooked up directly to the supply. That negative terminal goes right to the supply, negative. Okay? The positive, I'm putting 18 volts into the battery. From the negative side, the 6 volts that are coming out, because it's more than the battery is charged to, 6 volts come out and power this, right? With that red wire. Now let me hook it up. So right now it's like that. Now my amperage goes up to 1.7 volts when I'm powering that H bridge from the negative side. Right? Now I lost my self-induction there, but now watch this. This is my positive of my H bridge. Take it off, and it still works. And I got my self-induction. The H bridge is running itself with only the negative lead hooked up to the supply. The positive lead is not hooked up to nothing. And when I don't hook the positive supply, the positive lead up, I have my self-induction back. Now, in between these two, in between the bucking transformers, I have a bridge rectifier, which goes to a boost, which goes back to the battery and back to the negative side of the battery. So the amperage it's pulling in a circuit is putting it back in a battery, and the battery's charging from this at 0.52 amps. Now I don't see any over unity or anything happening at the moment, but I'm getting closer and closer, I feel. And I could run my H bridge with no positive hooked up to it, and it runs at the exact same hertz, 25 hertz, 24.9, 25 hertz. It runs sufficiently without a positive wire on it. That is beyond me. Now, because of this self-induction, this is my theory, because of this self-induction that's happening, right? Because it's inducing itself. If you watched my last video, you saw an increase of voltage substantially. It almost like doubles, if not more. Here should have positive voltage on it because it's self-inducing its own voltage out, which is sufficient enough to drive it. Now let's prove it. Let's take the multimeter and let's put this on negative of the battery, because everything's tied to this negative, if I can find room. Negative of the battery, the multimeter, and it turned off. Let me reset the multimeter. The multimeter's on direct current. I'm going to put the positive lead onto the bridge to look how much difference we have in between here and the negative of the battery. 8 volts direct current is coming out of the positive line, and that 8 volts is enough to run the H bridge by itself. But again, I don't know where I'm going with this, but some fascinating self-induction is definitely going on, and I strongly suggest watch my last video when I'm showing just about 2 times voltage coming out of the input. So fascinating.